Rams presented by FanDuel. Erin Coscarelli alongside Tyler Dragon of USA Today. We are officially 1/3 into the 2025 regular season. And of course, with that, we must invite in our very special guest, former NFL player and scout, analyst for NFL Media, Fox Sports Radio. The man has a million jobs because, of course, we love picking his brain when it comes to all things the NFL. Bucky Brooks is joining us. Bucky, thank you for making the time for us. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks, you guys, for having me on.
It's a great time to have you on, right? Because as the Rams, like you said, are heading across the pond to take on the Jags, a lot of questions remain with regards to Sean McVay and this particular team this year. A lot of storylines. Let's just jump right into it, shall we? Because both of these teams, and before we really get into the Jags, but both of these teams 4-2, Rams coming off a rather less than impressive win against Baltimore 17-3, and Jacksonville looking to rebound from their 20-12 loss to Seattle. Listen, I just want to ask you this question. As you see it, what do you feel like you always put your NFL on Fox top 10 NFL rankings up, and I saw the last 2 weeks the Rams are no longer in the top 10. I want to say it was because of week 5 when they played the Niners, but let's get Bucky's opinion on that. What was the reason you took the Rams out of the top 10?
Okay, full disclosure. So I have to submit that list on Sunday night. So it's before the Monday night games even take place, because given the situation that took place Monday, they probably would have been in there at 9 or 10. But I think the main thing is, the loss to the Niners certainly impacts them. Like when you think about the Niners had just lost to the Jags. So you drop the Niners down, and then the Rams lose to and there's this lump of teams that are sitting right there with 2 losses that, depending on when you see them, one week they're great, the next week they struggle. But everyone is really focused on stacking wins, because the first half of the season literally is to put yourself in a position to make a dash for the cash at the end, to be playing your best ball down the stretch. And as long as you're not too far off the path, when you get to the halfway point, there's always a chance for you to kind of climb your way back into the race.
Seems like the Rams haven't really been able to put a complete game together, whether it's the Eagles, the special teams, block kicks, or the 49ers, it was defense and some offensive lapses. What have you seen from the Rams that have, caused some of their struggles, especially on all 3 phases, really?
It's such a weird thing because, one, tremendous amount of respect for their coaching staff. Sean McVay does a great job not only of leading the team, but of hiring coaches that kind of really shine in their respective roles. This is a team that I Bleav is perfectly constructed to play complementary football with the offense, defense, and special teams working together to win games. And so when you see them lose a game because they have special teams errors and they have field goals blocked and those things, it's a bit of a surprise. When you see the defense struggle, because up front, man, they are young, they're talented, they're athletic, they get after, they play with relentless passion. They do a really good job of protecting the guys behind them with the coverage stuff. All of that is great. And then offensively, Sean McVay is willing to do whatever it takes to win, whether they need to run it, throw it Puka 50 times, Devontae Adams, whoever it is. So they have a well-constructed team. It just hasn't clicked. And I think if I am a Rams fan, I'm not concerned. I'm just waiting to see when do all the puzzle pieces come together so we begin to play like the championship team. Because this is much better than it's been the last 2 years when they started out 1-4. At least they're in a good position as opposed to having to dig themselves out of a deep hole.
Yeah, I think, Bucky, you make a great point. It just, to me, it seems like this team, as Tyler was saying, hasn't been able to string together consistently for quarters. What do you attribute that to? Like, why are we still seeing sort of, to me, this team should be a 6-0 team.
Look, I think the league is hard. I think anyone who is an old school coach in the league, you just know that no matter what we say about the league, the parity makes it where every game is like a 1-score game. And in a perfect world, all these teams are hoping to break this season up in the quarters, where you go 3-1 a quarter, with the exception of the 5-week quarter that you have to count. But if you go 3-1, that puts you at 12 wins every quarter. And then maybe you get to 13 and you're talking about now 1 or 2 seed. the Rams are in a great spot, but their division is really, really tough. And when they get into the gauntlet of the division, dealing with Seattle and the Niners, and even to a lesser extent, the Arizona Cardinals, man, that is some intense warfare. To me, it's just about them finding their way. And because of the way they operate in the preseason, sometimes it takes them a while to get their sea legs because they don't play their guys in preseason games. No matter what you do during practices, you can't simulate the physicality and the intensity of a game. And it may take them a while to kind of find their groove. But typically what happens is they're a healthier team because they haven't kind of put themselves in a position with the unnecessary risks to have all their guys available to play when it really matters.
I'm interested to get your thoughts on Puka Nacua. He has a sprained ankle. Odds are he's probably not going to play on Sunday. The scheduling gods did the Rams a favor with the bye next week, but how long can that sprained ankle linger, and how much will that affect him going forward when he does, in fact, get back on the field?
Depending on the severity of the high ankle sprain, it's going to be a problem the entire year. It'll never be right. He could be walking in the house and kind of step wrong on a step, and it'll impact them. But they are lucky because the scheduling guys do them a favor by having them have the bye week right after the London trip. So that gives you almost 3 weeks for him to kind of return to health. And I'll say this, man, they do a great job of stacking and stockpiling positions on their roster. So having Davante Adams to slide over and be the number one receiver when he is a very polished, accomplished route runner and playmaker, to me, those balls just head to Davante Adams as the number one. And then they figure out a way to balance it out with the other guys who have shown to be very, very capable playmakers like Higbee, like Tutu Atwell, and others.
To that point, Bucky, how do you feel the connection's been between Stafford and Davante? They've missed a couple times, and I'm nitpicking here a little bit in the red zone. And there's been even some occasions Davante hasn't come up with the ball that normally he would have in previous years. So how do you feel that connection has been through the first part of the season?
I think it's still obviously a work in progress. I had an opportunity to watch them in training camp when they had to join practice with the Cowboys, and they were absolutely on fire. At some point, they'll get to that where they're in rhythm. They can kind of have a synergy where Stafford knows by body language where Davante Adams is going to fit. But it takes time on task, hours, reps, them getting together, knowing how certain people like to run routes, the timing of the routes, and understanding where you fit within the progression. All that takes time, and that's why you've probably seen Puka Nacua very early be the overwhelming number one receiver because there's a comfort level, there's a trust. That trust has to be developed with Adams and Stafford, and I'm confident that they'll get it done. It just takes time.
The likelihood of Puka being available, Coach spoke today. He said it's hard to say right now if he expects to see him practice this week. Obviously, he's not practicing today. They're in Baltimore for the week, and then they're going to end up leaving on Saturday to go to London. Coach said we'll see where he's at tomorrow. In the event Puka can't go, how do you see the Rams try to adjust? And then, of course, the following week they have a bye. So maybe it makes the most sense to rest Puka this week. How do they compensate for the lack of production you're going to get, obviously, out of the comfort of Stafford and Puka's connection?
Well, I mean, obviously, there's no one that can replace Puka completely. So the targets will be redistributed where others probably get more opportunities. But I would expect Davante Adams to be the number one guy that is targeted. But this also may be a game where they try and lean a little more into the running game, because what the running game will create different opportunities down the field on play action, shot plays, and those things make the Jaguars have to defend that potent punch that they have in the backfield. And when they're running, then you play action, you take your shots, you run all those diagonals and deep crosses that the Rams like to do, and you're able to generate the explosives that way. But look, Puka's a big loss, but it's not one that they can't overcome. Stafford is so good and the playmakers are so good that they'll figure out a way to get it done.
The leading receiver last week was their tight end and Tyler Higbee. At what point do you want to see more production out of Terrence Ferguson? Do you see that being implemented this week? One of the things Mina Kimes said was maybe implement more 12 personnel, get their tight ends more involved. Do you foresee Sean McVay doing anything interesting like that this week?
Oh, I think so. I mean, but I think a lot of what Sean McVay does is based on matchups and where they feel like they can gain the advantage. Are the advantages playing against the Jaguars base personnel, or do they want to attack their nickel personnel? And sometimes you can establish and set the terms based on how you primarily operate. That'll be in play. Yeah, they would like to get Ferguson involved, but man, when the quarterback is older, there's a trust that you really have to earn that before the ball hits in your direction. It's about making sure that you're in the right spot all the time, or Stafford's going to go elsewhere. And because those guys have been around, because he knows them and understands them and inherently trusts them, that's why they're first at the table. So he's going to have to earn his. He's going to have to earn his keep before he gets some balls in games.
What can Rams fans expect from the Jaguars? It seems like they had a signature win a couple weeks ago against the Kansas City Chiefs, and then it was like the same old Jaguars against the Seattle Seahawks this past week, and Trevor Lawrence and so on. What can Rams fans expect from them?
Well, all the Rams fans are going to feel like they're looking at a team in the mirror because, it's been on the record. General Manager James Gladstone, head coach Liam Coen have pointed to the Rams as the North Star. They would like to emulate a lot of things that the Rams have done successfully to be a team that is always in contention. And in mimicking and imitating those things, I'm not just talking about schematically. I'm talking about culturally, the vibe, the feel that you have around the Rams. Well, some of that is beginning to pop up in Duval. It's the way that they communicate, the way that they're direct. I would say the superb coaching in terms of attention to detail and what they demand of their players and how they demand their coaches to express and communicate information. All of that comes from the way that Sean McVay operates. What you're going to see on the field is, I would say, maybe some of the 2018 Rams when Sean McVay first came in, some of the fly sweeps, some of the snug condensed formations, some of the things that they did when it was Bobby Trees and Cooper Kupp and Brandon Cooks, and they were kind of making that stuff kind of work. You're seeing some of that in play because Liam Coen was around then. The difference is trying to get Trevor and all those guys on the same page and really trying to get Trevor to up his game because he's done a really good job, the mental part of it, the pre-snap part, but now it's consistently executing the passes and getting the ball to the playmakers. And then really the playmakers got to catch them, namely Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter and Parker Washington, because this team on the perimeter has really struggled with drops.
Why do you think that the Rams culture, when we were listening to Devontae Adams saying why he was coming over, he said there's no dark cloud over the building. And of course, he tipped his cap to the culture that Sean McVay creates in that room. What is it, in your opinion, makes Sean McVay different? And why is the culture, would you say it's just positive?
I would say it's rare that your head coach has outstanding IQ and EQ. Like, it's one thing to be very intelligent. It's another thing to have the emotional part of it where you can connect with the people. No matter what we talk about in football being in X and O's games, it's really about Jimmys and Joes. But the Jimmys and Joes need to feel wanted, valued, and appreciated. And so Sean McVay has a unique way of doing that, not only with the players, but you guys know, y'all been around the building. I have guys that work there that just talk about, I don't know if I ever work anywhere else. When he shuts it down, I'm going to shut it down. Like, I've had people say that. And so there's some quality that he has that brings people in. And I can tell you, in being in the building in Jacksonville, being around Liam and being around James Gladstone, there's a similar vibe that they're trying to build where you like coming to work, you like being involved. Everyone in the building feels like their job is the most important job on the team, and they're appreciated for doing their job, meaning they get the thank yous, they get the hellos, things that we don't think would be big, but they are big because we're real people. And so I think Sean has done a really good job of making people feel welcome and wanted, and the Jaguars are trying to emulate that same kind of feel in their own building.
How tough is it as a former player to play overseas? I know the Rams are in Baltimore, and they stayed in Baltimore this week, and they have to deal with another time difference traveling to London, as well as the Jaguars. But how difficult is that to go and play in these international games?
It's funny, man, because there are a few schools of thought when it comes to that. Some people like to go over and spend the whole week, get on your body clock, adapt and acclimate to what's going on. Others, like the Rams are doing, hey, man, let's drop off, let's sleep a night, let's go play, and let's get out. It just kind of depends on what you're used to. I Bleav the team that wins is going to feel like their way works the best, but I've seen it done a few different ways, and I think it can be successful. And I'll tell you, I've done this a few different times. I am actually leaving on Friday night after my high school game. So that's a 11 o'clock flight. I'll get to London Saturday at like 5:30. The game is whatever time the game is over there. I think it's like a 2:30 game local time. And then you go, and you may have a little bit of the fog, but you're really going on so much adrenaline. By the time you kind of realize or whatever, it's over. And then you're back on the plane going back. I think it can be done. I really think a lot of it is, and what the Rams have done, when things get tough, they don't give their players the way out, the excuse like, oh, it's so tough going overseas. What are we going to do? Here's what it is. This is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. Let's go. And I think that approach works best. Just be very frank and to the point and let them know what's ahead of them. And they got to figure out a way to get to win.
So true. The current spread right now, Rams favored by 3 on FanDuel Sportsbook. Do you agree with that? Do you feel like the Jags are a 3-point underdog?
I would say so. I think that's about a reasonable number. I would say that given what the Rams have been and who they are, yeah, you should make them the favorite. However, I will say this. I think Rams and their fans should understand that this is a different version of the Jags that tried it out. And even though the Seattle Seahawks beat them up in the trenches, it kind of came at the perfect time because you're coming off the emotional high of knocking off the Chiefs on a Monday night after going to the West Coast and knocking off the Niners. And those two games back to back, that's a lot. And so the Rams will see the best version of the Jags. And then it's a matter of who is able to impose their will, because this will be a very physical affair. And it should feel like a typical NFC West game in terms of these teams know each other really well, particularly the coaches. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a very, very hard-fought game.
Yeah, and then just to add on top of that too, I mean, because everybody's scheming to, predict what they think. That I think the over-under is at 44.5. I predict it's going to be a low-scoring game. I'm taking the under. Where are you at?
Yeah, I think I would stick to that. And here's why: the Jaguars have been killing when it comes to turning the ball over. Against the Seahawks, it was the first time they hadn't produced a turnover in a game, and they've been able to get them in all different types of situations, whether it's picking off passes on tips or overthrows, knocking the ball loose on forced fumbles where they're intentionally peanut punching the ball, knocking the ball loose. They're hunting. They have a turnover obsession. The one thing that we can say about Matthew Stafford is every now and then he'll make a hero throw and try and fit it into a tight window, and that can reduce a turnover-worthy play. Whoever takes the best care of the ball is going to be the team that wins.
Well, I know we're going to be short on time. Let's get in one quick question for you, Bucky Brooks. Thank you again for making time. Bleav in Rams. He is all over the place. He's at Fox. He's at Fox Sports. He's at NFL Media. Former player, former scout. And, I think if you can say what you think the X factor of this game is going to be for the Rams, what would you say?
Running game. Yeah. It's all about Kyren Williams. If the Rams are able to impose their will running the football, then everything goes the way that they want to go according to script. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, the Rams are a ball control team. They want to control the game, dictate the terms, run it, use the running game to set up big plays in the passing game. If they're able to run the ball successfully, that's when the explosives come, and that's when they play their best balls.
And you think this team can win without a Puka Nacua?
100%, because I've seen them do it before. I think this team is well equipped to be able to do it, not only in terms of personnel, but they have a mentality where people always talk about next man up, and as soon as someone gets hurt, they're like, oh, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
They will line it up and play. He's going to put somebody else in, and the ball is going to head in the direction of the player that replaces Puka Nacua. They have a tremendous amount of trust in their process, but more importantly, they trust the way they develop their young players. So many young Rams have had success because they put them on the field and they trust them to make the plays that are there to be made. To me, that brings a lot of confidence into the locker room, knowing that, hey, if it's my time, and I'm going to get a shot to do it. Yeah, I'm not worried about them playing without Puka Nacua. It comes down to execution. But who they have to play with, who they have to depend on, I don't think it has a tremendous impact on the outcome of the game. They'll figure out a way to get it done if they can do it.
So interesting. Yeah. Amazing. Bucky Brooks, you're going to the game, and you said you're coming back when? You're going Friday after your high school football game?
Yeah, going Friday, coming back Monday. Quick trip, in and out.
Quick trip.
I love it.
Quick trip, in and out. Oh yeah, we'll take care of some of that now. We're gonna get some of that. We're making sure LA. We'll have all kinds of kale salad up into it. But when I get over there, I'm gonna give it some fish and chips now. Trust.
Fish and chips, yeah. I don't know about the mush peas though.
No. That's not on the. They can keep that. I'd be like, fish and chips only. They can keep that.
They served that when I was over there last time. Just fish and chips. Yeah, I'm with you, Bucky.
I'm not even gonna ask what a mushed pea is, but it sounds not interesting.
No. I'm good.
But that is amazing. Week 7, both 4-2, Jags taking on the Rams. It's gonna be a good one. Bucky Brooks, we're so grateful we were able to get some of your time. We know how busy you are. Find him on Fox Sports, NFL Media. The guy is all over the place. His NFL top 10 rankings. Check them out each and every week. Sorry I had to put you on the spot there, but I was very curious to know why the Rams, they made it out after week 5.
We are, Erin, I know before disclosure, we are in the sports and entertainment industry. And sometimes you have to be entertaining by omitting some people.
That's right. Listen, I got to represent LA. I got to ask the hard questions. But Bucky Brooks' top 10 NFL rankings are amazing. You do such a great job. I love picking your brain. And again, thank you so much for making time for Tyler and I. And Rams Nation, we appreciate you.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on, guys. It was fun.
Safe travels to London.
Safe travels to London. That's right. All right. Presented by FanDuel. Thanks again, guys, for listening. Week 7 bout against the Jaguars. We'll see who catches the W. We appreciate you listening. Until next time.